Hi there, Dave Rawlings here of the London Longsword Academy, and today I'd like to talk to you about Krieger weapons. Now, we ordered quite a few things from Krieger quite a while ago, but I haven't reviewed them because I really wanted to see how they stood up to a little bit of abuse over a year or so. So one of the things that you should be aware about Krieger before you start is that they usually use synthetic grips, certainly on all of their sparring gear that we've got from them. So for example, in the case of this longsword here, very nice, simple crossguard. I like this. Good, sturdy, well anchored, hasn't moved in all the free play that we've used it in. The grip is synthetic. It is ribbed, not for extra sensation, but it is rubber. It's like using a 1980s diver's knife. And initially it feels really, really weird in your hand because you're like, this kind of sticks in my grip. And then you realize when you're having sort of like free play with maybe heavy gloves and you haven't got the grip that you expected to, your dexterity is a little bit down. Having this kind of synthetic grip is actually really, really nice, and the retention is a little bit better, and I felt that I could feel my dexterity a little bit better as a result. However, this is a relatively short-handled longsword, which gives you a lot more rotation around the hand rather than more leverage that you get in some of the longer-handled longswords. And again, not a good thing nor a bad thing, and I would suggest that if you wish to experience different sensations in how your swords move, it's a very good thing to try. It does not move as nimbly as swords that have that longer handle. Just be aware of it. I found it was very, very interesting to play with. It certainly wants to roll a lot more in the hand, but with more forwards pull, but doesn't want to lever very comfortably. Still absolutely fine, different experience, a lot more forward throw. It is not my favourite sparring longsword, but it is a good one, it's sturdy, it has taken no damage. So, good piece of kit. Interesting. Then we have, let's see, the rapier. This is one of the reasons I went with Krieger. I was really excited to see that they had a cup hilt with no knuckle bow on it, which means that it's very good for things like T-bow, that kind of thing. Lots of hand protection. Looked fantastic, and I've picked it up about once a month, waved it around sadly and gone, shit, it's not for me, unfortunately. There is too much wobble, particularly if I want to hold this in the T-bow type grip where the flat is here. I don't know whether you can see this, but there is literally a hang to it, which great for if you're thrusting people and you want it to flex, but it just feels so submissive in the bind and it's not pleasant at all. Even on edge for a verdadeira destreza, this moves far too much to enjoy any interaction with your opponent's blade. So if you're wanting kind of like a stabby, fast, long rapier for competition, maybe, but no, I don't think it even moves that well for that. It's not a particularly comfortable, particularly nimble blade. So this I feel needs a lot of work, guys. I'll happily go through it with you. I would like to see a slightly shorter T-bow type measurements blade, maybe. Slightly shorter blade, stiffer blade, and recognition that people are going to have to use it with more control. And I would really aim this kind of rapier to be a cut and thrust rapier, rather than as it stands, it kind of feels optimized for safety in the thrust, but totally unenjoyable for any form of actual blade interaction. So this one, I will happily work with you if you want to get it right. I think we could turn it into a really good verdadeira destreza rapier. It is sturdy, I like that the guard is welded to the cup. It may be a historical, but you feel like you've got a piece of kit that is going to last incredibly well. It needs work, and again, I will happily go through that with you. Then, the sparring dagger. This actually is really good. I have a thing, I do not like reviewing weapons predominantly on flex. I don't like relying on flex, especially with daggers, because people expect the dagger to flex the same as a sword would over about twice as much length, and then they'll ram it in twice as hard and it doesn't do so even if it's quite flexible, and I think we're risking too much danger. So I much prefer it if people recognise that with daggers you can really just touch and that's it. And that's the manner of safety that I go for. I understand that people manage that safety in different ways in competition. All power to you, okay? But for me, this is actually a really, really nice little sparring dagger. Good amount of space in here, good amount of width for if you're wearing gloves, which is always nice. There is flex in the dagger, which will make those of you who want the dagger to flex happy. Again, I have my reasons for not liking it. But good, sturdy, plays well. Really, really nice dagger. Again, synthetic grip, very comfortable in the hand. The Messer. Now, you may have seen my friend Oscar review this Messer when he's talking about things such as the Landsknecht Emporium Messer, which has got a little bit more of a forward roll to it. It rolls more towards the tip, has a little bit more chop. And I thought I would feel very much the same as he does. I respect his opinion greatly. And then when I used it for play, I love it. I really, really like this. I actually prefer this to the Messers from Landsknecht Emporium for free play. I think theirs for drilling are absolutely wonderful, but for free play, this is nice. It has a good compromise between safety and feeling nimble. Rather than having the rubberized grip on this, although it may still be a rubberized grip and it's tricked me entirely, this has more of a kind of like a synthetic wood feel, which is again nice, and it doesn't take away from it aesthetically. It feels good, it feels sturdy, lovely movement in the hand. It rolls more than I thought it would. Now, here is the big surprise to me. Again, by the way, all of these things, all of the things I'm reviewing, one thing I will say very strongly about Krieger is that none of them have developed rattle yet over a good substantial amount of free play time. And that's really, really unusual. So they are doing some very good things. So in that respect, good sturdy pieces of kit, go for it. This I absolutely love. There's one thing I'm going to say about this that really surprised me. Here I was thinking that this was going to be very light, very nimble. And then I found one of my swords that really behaved in a very similar way to it. And this might come as a bit of a surprise because it's this, which looks like an absolute beast, but it is so, so nimble, so nimble. And the Krieger Messer behaves in a very, very similar way. So this is a big hunting hanger, but it's still a Messer. It really, really has that same feel. And the Krieger Messer works very well as something that behaves like that blade. So it made me immensely happy. I had now got my psychological crutch that was going like, oh yes, this now feels like a real sword. Everything feels like a real sword. There's some really shit real swords out there. Just get over it. Different things feel like different real swords. Some good, some bad. Meh. Okay. This, great. Really, really rate these. Excuse me. Then, the only other thing, I did get small swords from them. Let's not talk about the small swords, guys, unless you really want to change them. I feel the blades are too light, he says, talking about them. The guards allow swords through, then the tips get stuck in the leather grips, so there's things that need to be done with those. So they're not my favourite things from you, so I'm not going to review them properly. This, however, Krieger sabres, I love. I've been using these and gradually increasing the pressure. You may notice that these have got a new type of safety tip on them that we've been testing out, and I like the tips, but the manufacturer's got to get a little bit more receptive to feedback from the public that are using them before we can give you any decent reviews of them. They're an interesting product. They still need work, and you need to listen to that feedback, because out in the big wide world is a little bit different to testing amongst a trial audience. So the Krieger sabres. The Krieger sabres are absolutely excellent. This has got a good degree of forward to it, but it rolls lovely. This has taken over a period of being used to various different degrees of hardness, being used to play standard Roeth type sabre, through to fencing almost with the lightness of small sword play, to really going with the flamboyance and proper cross-cutting of Maya. And it's stood up incredibly well. The cup is sturdy. There's still no rattle to this thing. The blade is still in very, very good condition. When I bought these, I did expect to get some straight blade and some curved blade, so I would still like to try their straight bladed ones. But honestly, Krieger for sabres and for messers, absolutely at the moment are my top choice. Again, you have a synthetic grip. We got two different hilt designs, one which has a slight more flare here, but this was very much the one that suited me best. Synthetic grip gives you a good amount of comfortable grip, and again, relatively good retention. I have resorted to using these because I train on the roof and I really don't want to accidentally start sailing my saber over the rooftops when I get into the more flamboyant Maya play, because we are using these as well for Dusak as well as saber, because Dusak's basically saber. Get over it. Okay, so the sabers from Krieger, absolutely brilliant. Really like them. The Dusaks, the Messers, sorry, from Krieger, absolutely excellent. Both of these two products, heartily recommend. The dagger, I heartily recommend. I think it's great. The longsword at the moment, it's an experience. It's neither positive nor negative. It's good retention, but it doesn't flow as well as some other longswords, as kind of like the standard model that people are using for free play. But again, a good experience. And the rapier, I'm afraid, I don't think is there yet. And the small swords are definitely not right yet. But they have some excellent products. Thank you so much for your patience in waiting for the review, guys. I haven't been paid for any of these reviews. They did give me 1 or 2 of these swords for free. I think the dagger and the longsword. But out of all of those things, the saber and the messer are very much the best thing. Please go and check out Krieger. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.